Today I have a I call him the happiest, most blissed out biologist on the planet. Bruce Lipton, thank you so much for coming.
Josh, I am so delighted to be here with you and your community, because this is an opportunity for us to discuss things that you've learned personally. Yeah. But say, though, it's not just personal, it's a scientific reality that affects all of us. And so the more your experiences can be relayed, the more other people say, I can have all these experiences. I say, yes.
Yes, and also the more we are sharing this space and that energy, it's infectious. And people become pulled more and more into this. So basically, you hardly need any introduction. Everybody knows who you are. Where I'm coming from, everybody knows who you are. But one of my burning questions has always been that. So here we have this guy in a lab coat running around, looking at cells in a petri dish, and having certain realizations about consciousness and unity, community, and then something happened for you. Like something just changed, and what you were watching became your life. Like you start expressing that. Can you talk a little bit about that process and what really happened?
Oh, it was very exciting. It's very exciting because it first started with this. When I was doing my research on the cells, I was doing it from a non-spiritual point of view. I didn't believe in spirituality, religion. I was a science person. If you want, for me, the truth was in science. Okay, so I had no belief or desire about spirituality. Yeah. When I started to understand the mechanism, how the cells were translating the environment into biology. Mm-hmm. The most important thing that hit me at that moment of mechanism is say, oh my goodness, the signals touch the cell membrane, and then it's like a computer, you're typing on the surface of the cell with signals, and then that information goes into the nucleus and creates a biology of what you're typing, whatever you're typing on it. Mm-hmm. But the thing that hit me, the first thing was, wait, no two people are the same, biologically. Yeah. Meaning, I can't take my cells out of my body and put them into your body, because as soon as I do, your immune system will say, not self, and eliminate it. That's what your immune system is protecting you. So, but you can't take your cells and put it into my body because my immune system will say, not self. I say, well, then there must be some identity of self. Otherwise, how would the immune system know whether it was self or not self? It must read something. And then I saw what it was on the surface of the cell are little like antennas, like on a television antenna or radio antenna, little ones. And they have different vibration frequencies. So it's like a code. Okay. No two people have the same code. Okay. So on your cells, there's a code that says Josh cells. On my cells, there's a code that says Bruce cells. If I put my cells into your body says, no, that's not me, and get rid of it, okay? Yeah. So I said, well, wait, the identity is due to these antennas. And so like medicine says, they actually call them, in science, they call it self-receptor. Self-receptor. Okay. But they were saying that the identity was the protein, the antenna. Yeah. I say, no. When you're watching a TV show, you got the TV, you have an antenna. The show didn't come from the antenna. The show came from broadcast. Yeah. Okay? And I said to myself, oh my God, no two people are the same because we're receiving different broadcasts. Yeah. Each one of us has our own vibrational frequency that is coming in, and it says my cells are not the same as your cells. All my cells share the same vibrational frequency because they all work together in harmony, so they share the same station. Yeah. If I put your cells into my body, your cells would be receiving a different station, and my cells are receiving this other station. The point? You can't have two stations, so I eliminate your cells. The moment that I said, oh my God, the signal is coming in and making identity, and I said, I'm not in here. I am the broadcast. This is the television set.
Yeah.
You're watching the Bruce show right now. Bruce.
Yes.
Okay? And that the signal is coming from the outside, being picked up by the antennas that are different for each person.
Yeah.
So each of us is receiving a different broadcast. But then the biggest thing that hit me, and this is all within 1 minute, okay?
Oh, wow.
The thing that hit me was, I can't die. I'm not in here.
Yes.
I am the broadcast. I am not the television set.
Yes.
And a guy who was not spiritual, in 1 minute, 100% spiritual. No, not by church devotion or teaching or Bible. No. Science. Science said what? I am the broadcast. I am the invisible field playing through the body, which is the television set. Yeah. If my television set dies, the broadcast is still there. You could be watching a show on TV. The TV breaks. I say, the broadcast is still there, right? Yeah, but you need another TV.
Yeah.
I say, when another embryo is created, but has the same receptors, the self receptors, the same ones that you have, that will be you in a different television set.
Yes.
And it doesn't make a difference if the television is male or female. It doesn't make a difference if the television is white, black, brown, yellow, red. That's a television set. Yeah. That's not who we are. We're the broadcast.
Absolutely.
So it says we are immortal spirits. In physics, they talk about that energy that goes to those antennas. Yeah. They call it part of the field. We're all part of the field, but each one of us is a different station. It's just like you're on a radio. You can turn the dial, and as you go down, one station, another station, another station. Each one is a different number. Each one of us is a different frequency. Each one of us, and so first of all, here's the shock. Not spiritual. I'm fully spiritual. That's how fast, and my life was, and it was funny. Here's the funny part, but it's also very important as well. This is personal. So what happened was, all of this was the result of my conscious thinking and my brain and the neurons and the science and all that, right?
Yeah.
But the moment, that instant, that one moment where I said, oh my God, I'm an energy, I'm a spirit, I'm not in here.
Yeah.
The effect was on my heart. The effect was on my heart. I felt my heart ache. It was aching with joy so much that the tears were coming down my face.
Wow.
And I said, in my whole life, I've been always in my head, always.
Yeah.
At the moment of what I call the truth comes in, it was my heart that it changed my whole life. It changed my whole life. The first thing, it was very important, no fear.
Yeah.
What's fear based on? I could lose my life.
Yeah, survival. Okay.
And then what if you own, not as a devotion, and I like to believe it, but own it as science.
Yeah.
That you cannot die. It wasn't a question of belief. It was like, oh, I cannot die.
Yeah.
Facts. Yeah. and so a weight lifted off that wasn't available. I didn't understand. I was just carrying the weight all the time. I didn't know it was there. But when I understood the spiritual nature of a weight lifted off, I felt lighter. And what it was no fear. No fear. And without fear, there's no stopping you from going forward. Fear is the stop point of people. I'm afraid to do this. I can't do this. I won't do this. It's like you put a wall up.
Yeah.
And so when you own, this is not like a suggestion or a devotion. I hope it's true. It's like I saw it from science. I wasn't looking for it. That was the other thing. I wasn't looking for spirituality. I didn't even care about it. Okay. But the result was it changed it changed my whole life. My whole life changed.
So because, in what way did it change? Like, I can only imagine in every way, but can you give some examples?
Yes. Number one, as I said, no fear. What does that mean? That means because you don't realize unconsciously, you're always on guard, because from the time we grow up as children and we learn that we could die and that we could get hurt, we unconsciously look at everything as we're walking down the street. Why? If there's like a mugger, all of a sudden you'll be prepared. So you're without, not like I'm looking for muggers, but if my subconscious sees something, it will get my attention right away. So that means what? It's working all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Doing what? Watching out for my protection. Okay, so that means it's a lot of energy that you're not paying attention to, but the subconscious mind is watching everything. And I said, yeah, but if you let that go, it's like, you got all this extra energy.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not using that system anymore. The power comes back to me. Mm-hmm. I could use it for something different.
Mm-hmm.
So that was number one. Number two, what I recognized was this. At the first instant in my neurological brain was thinking, it said, why should I have a spirit and a body? Why not just be the spirit?
Mm-hmm.
And the cells, my own cells, I could feel the answer come right up to my head. And this is what my cells said to me. It's like funny if you think about it.
Yeah.
I said, why have a spirit and a body? And the cells of my body came up and said, Bruce, if you're just a spirit, what does chocolate taste like? And it hit me and I said, oh my God, this is a mechanism. Eyes translate pictures. Ears translate sound. Smell, taste, touch, feelings, love, pain, fear. These come from a physical body. That's the mechanism of cells creating chemistry, which is creating vibration, which is then sent back to the source. Mm. So I'm sending signals to my body to move here and here and here. And my body is sending signals back saying, this feels good, this hurts, don't do this, go there. Yeah. So it's a two-way learning thing. Without the body, I say to spirit, what does love feel like? And it's like, I don't know why. Spirit doesn't have cells. Cells make love chemistry. Yeah. So having the body is an extension of having a spirit. It adds to our life. And then I said, but that, and here's the, the guy, now you have to recognize this all occurs within a 5-minute period. 5 minutes. Okay.
Oh my God.
Not spiritual. Jump into, oh my God, I'm immortal. Oh my God, the body is a mechanism that moves, driven by the spirit to move, and takes information and sends it back to the spirit via the nervous system. And then I said, oh my God, you don't die and go to heaven. You get born into heaven. Mm. And then when you get here, you can create what you can imagine only as a spirit. As a spirit, I say, imagine a South Sea island. I say, I can imagine, I got a picture, I can imagine it. I say, yeah, but be in a South Sea island. Oh, the air temperature, the smell, the flowers, the feelings. All of a sudden it's like, oh, you can't do that with a spirit.
No.
So I said, wait, we come to Earth to do two things, to create and to experience. Mm-hmm. I go, you don't die and go to heaven. You're born into heaven. This is where we came to have all the experiences you can imagine. Why? Your imagination is creating your life. Mm. But if you program that imagination to not experience, if you program that imagination to not go there, if you program, I am weak, I am vulnerable, mm-hmm. I have no power. If that's what you program, that's what you create. Mm. So we have been programmed to lose our power so mm-hmm. that a few can have a lot of power. Mm-hmm. And I say, what does that mean? I say, here's a fact, Josh, very important. All of us are powerful and all of us are equally powerful. And I say, yeah, but there's a guy in the street with no job living on a sidewalk, and there's, you know, Bill Gates or Donnie Trump. I said, they're powerful. This guy's not powerful. I said, but oh, they all started out powerful. It was the programming in the first 7 years of our life that determines how we operate. And the programming comes from parents and siblings and community, because the first 7 years of our lives, our brain is not creating, our brain is recording whatever it sees. How does the mother behave? How does the father behave? How do the kids behave? How do adults behave? I'm recording this. This is where I get my program. And then it turns out 95% of our life comes from this program, a recording. And here's the point, that it's like, well, this is new on a science level. The Jesuits for 400 years have told people, give me a child until it is 7 and I will show you the man. And it's like, they already knew that the first 7 years of programming determines the rest of your life. Ever since then, guess what? We've all been programmed. But most of the programming is take away all your power.
But you're I'm assuming that you have had quite a standard programming like the rest of humanity, like problems the first 7 years in your life as well, but something interrupted the program. Something yes. came in and did a total interruption. And so some people in the yogic traditions, they would say grace. The grace fell upon him or something, but you went through a process, a mental process of realizing scientifically the truth of what you really are, and so a mental process went in and disrupted your programming, just from studying in the lab.
Yeah. Now, you've had this with near-death experiences. Once somebody goes through that, you come out of it, it's like you're not the same person that went into that.
No.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you changed, and it's not about Joshua. It's not about Bruce. It's not about the identity has shifted. It's from being personal to something else.
Look. There's three levels.
Yeah.
One, there's a spirit, which is the broadcast, which is driving your biology. Like, consider this like a vehicle, like a plane, a car. Mm-hmm. It's driving. You're driving with the spirit, right? Mm-hmm. But there's also a program built in that you learned, so you know how to drive the vehicle without even thinking. I mean, you walk down the street, you don't think about every step, how you did that. It's automatic at this point. You drive the car, you could be talking to somebody, and yet every system is paying attention to what's going on in the world unconsciously, okay? Mm-hmm. So the idea is there's a program, then there's a spirit. But when you take the spirit to drive the program, that's in the middle. Mm-hmm. The spirit, but selecting the program, okay? Mm-hmm. That's called the conscious mind. The conscious mind is creative because it can select from the program. You know what? It's like a computer. Inside the computer is a hard drive, got all the programs, right? Mm-hmm. But on the screen, you can change things. You can put things together. You can, imagine and do that. Mm. I say, where is it? I say, it's not inside the program, but it's you, the spirit, touching the keys, and the program working together to make what you see on the screen. So here's the point. There are 3 ways we can live. One, just a program. Whatever program is, that's my life. That's what the Jesuits said. Mm-hmm. If I give you the program, I already know your life. The program is going to be your life. It's already. Then there's a period of recognizing your spirit. That changes the game a bit because it says, I'm not the program. Yeah. I'm the person above the program. Mm-hmm. And then when you bring the 2 together, spirit uses the available programs to create the life. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, when spirit starts to think, rather than control the dashboard and make it move, okay? I say, wait, I got to think of something. I say, but my vehicle's moving down the street. And I say, yeah, but I got to think of something, which means I'm looking inside. Thinking is look inside, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm driving the vehicle because I'm watching what's going on. I say, thinking, I can't see what's going on. Why? Because now my focus is inside.
Yeah.
That's when the subconscious, the automatic program takes over. Why? It knows how to drive the car, it knows how to walk down the street. You don't need, that's automatic. You do it automatically anyway. So yes. All of a sudden you start to realize this. When you are driving the vehicle, you're conscious. Your spirit is holding onto that wheel saying, I want to go here and I want that and I want this. You're driving and that's where you're going. But the moment you start thinking, then the automatic takes over. Yeah, but the automatic, whose program is that? A copy of your mother and your father and your family. It's not even your program. You got it from other people. So if I'm thinking, then I'm playing other people's behavior. I go, and if those behaviors, and here's the fact, 70% are negative, disempowering, self-sabotaging programs. When you play those programs, you are, going down in life. And I say 95% of your day, you're playing those programs. And when you are conscious, meaning I'm not playing a program, I'm holding the wheel, I know where I'm going, I want to go and do this, I'm not going to be thinking, I'm going to be driving. When you're conscious, you can go where you want to go. But when the conscious mind is thinking, you're going to go where the program is going to send you to go. And we now know 95% of our life is the program. And the issue is, and this is very critical because I have to learn all this myself, the issue is, when we are thinking and we're playing the program that we downloaded from your mother, father, family, when you're playing the program, and because you're thinking, you don't see the program. Why? Because you're inside thinking. You can't see what's going on. Only when you stop thinking do you look around and go, hey, what's going on? So here's the point. 95% of our life is coming from programs that we don't even see. We don't see it because we were thinking. They were just automatic. I give an example. You're in a car. You know how to drive. You've been driving a long time. You have a passenger, and you get a conversation with the passenger, and you talk and you talk and you talk. And then at some point you look out the window and go, I didn't pay attention to the road for the last 5 minutes. I go, you're still okay, right? The car's okay. It's driving good. You didn't hit anything. I said, well, who was driving the car? I said, well, obviously my conscious was talking. So the driving must be subconscious program. Yeah. I go, and now here's where the story comes in. I say, now, can you tell me what your conversation was with the passenger? And you go, yes, we talked about this and this and this. Then I say, and tell me what happened on the road during that time. And you go, I didn't see it. Yeah. Now I say that's your life. Yeah. What's the point about it is this. What you focus on with your consciousness, you deal with. Everything else is automatic. But if it's automatic, it came from a program. But if it came from a program, then it came from the subconscious, whose basic programs came from copying other people. So you're not even playing your own life. You're playing other people's life. Yeah. Yeah. And when you get free, okay, everyone's seen, I think almost everyone's seen the movie The Matrix. Yes. Right? You see the movie The Matrix? Yeah. Okay. Now, that story says everybody's programmed. I say, yep, that's absolutely true. Everybody is programmed. Then they say, you could take a red pill and get out of the program. Oh. I say, yeah, but what happened? How, you take the red pill, you're not playing the program. What happens? I go, I'm going to tell you. Because what we now know is when people fall in love, the moment they begin to fall in love, like, guess what? They stop playing the program. They stop thinking so much and they start being there. If you have someone you've been looking for your whole life and they're right in front of you, why would you spend time thinking? So the one time that most people have taken the red pill, stop playing the program, when they fall in love. And I said, and what was the result of stop playing the program? And the answer was, when they fell in love, they created the honeymoon. They created heaven on earth. They created joy, health, happiness, and love. I go, well, they could have created that any day. Because the only reason they didn't is because up until today, you were running off of the program. Now, all of a sudden, your eyes are open. Your conscious is like, oh, I'm being here now. This is so great.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking.
Yeah.
And the moment they stop thinking is the moment their creative power works without a program. And the creative power is, what do you want to make? Heaven on earth? You got it right there. You can make it.
Yeah.
So the issues that changed my whole life, A, I'm not the body, I'm the spirit. B, most of my life is programmed by my subconscious. It's not me. Therefore, if I can change the subconscious, I can put in a program that if I'm thinking and the program's playing, it's actually helping me, not a program that is hurting me.
Yeah.
And the net result was, by systematically going through and changing my programs, I have experienced what I write about in the book called The Honeymoon Effect. Of heaven on earth. So I don't have a doctor. I don't have a doctor. I have life coming in, abundance. I have people surrounding me, love, everything. This was not my earlier life. This was not my earlier life.
Okay.
Yeah. So I said, change it.
So you had the epiphany, the awakening in those 5 minutes. You totally realized all that. But would you say that dismantling the programming and actually turning things to another direction, what you want to do, would you say that was instant too, or did you have to kind of dismantle the programming and bit by bit, and then slowly it starts moving in another direction?
Well, you have to recognize this. It's instant if you stay conscious without thinking, because that's the honeymoon. My life was blah, blah, blah. And I meet this one person, and 24 hours later, my life is heaven on earth. I go, that's instantly, okay? But if there are programs, there are different ways to change the programs, okay? They take time. You took time to make a program. It'll take some time to undo the program.
Yeah.
Okay? So basically, it says there's two things you need to know. What are the programs? So not all the programs are bad, but what are the ones that are causing me a problem? And number two is, how can I change the program? Those are the two things. If you get those, you can rewrite your program so that when you're thinking, whatever from the subconscious has the same wishes and desires that you want. So that means whether you're thinking or you're not thinking, you're creating the life of your wishes and desires if you have the program subconscious. So number one, what are my programs? And the problem is, you were being programmed, all of us were being programmed from before we were born. We were already being programmed to age 7. That's the program period, okay? And I said, well, the problem is this, the basic programs you have no memory of, because what can you remember from 0? What can you remember from 1? From 2 even, what can you remember? I said, well, those were the most important years of programming. So first thing is this, we don't know what our programs are. We weren't even there when the program happened. But then I said, yeah, but wait, 95% of your life is the program. 95% comes from subconscious. Oh, well then look at your life, and here's the easy part. Everything you like that comes into your life comes in because you have a program that says, come into my life. But here's the but. Everything you want, but you have to work hard, sweat over it, struggle. And I say, why are you working so hard to get that? And the answer, your program does not support that, and you're trying to override the program. That's where your work, that's where the stress is coming from, okay? So basically, you don't need to go to a psychologist to know the program. You just look at your life and say, what works, I don't need to change. What doesn't work is because I don't have program to support it. So now you know exactly what you want to change. The next part is the critical part. The two minds learn different. The conscious, creative, spirit mind learns different than the subconscious.
Okay.
The conscious mind's called creative, meaning it can just take ideas and make all kinds of ideas. So it's like the screen on your computer.
Yeah.
I can open up a bunch of programs. I can have all ideas and I can mix them and create. Okay. But the subconscious mind is not the screen. The subconscious mind is the data in the hard drive. Okay.
Yeah.
So the basic issue is this: how can I change my hard drive? I say, well, it learns differently than conscious mind. Conscious mind, creative. I could read a book and go, I could have an idea like I had in the cells, and I changed my mind. Creative, okay? Subconscious, not creative. Subconscious is record, playback, just like a CD recorder. Put a program in, push the button, it plays back. That's the subconscious, okay? So I say, but that means it learns in a different way. And I go, yes. The first 7 years, the brain is operating at a low frequency called theta, which is hypnosis. So a child until 7, the brain is like a video recorder. It's just recording everybody's behavior. So it makes how do I respond? Well, if I'm a parent, I respond this way. If I'm a child, I respond that way. So you learn without reading a book. As an infant, how'd you learn? I just recorded, okay? So the first part of subconscious learning is hypnosis. But after age 7, how did we learn? Think about it. Repeating things, practicing, repetition. How many times you had to say the alphabet so you could go from A to Z without a mistake? You had to repeat it. You know, in math, the times table, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 4 is 8. You had to repeat that. So before age 7, learning through hypnosis. After age 7, learning through repetition, habit, make a habit. Okay? And that's interesting because I said, well, how do you do that? And there's a phrase that people are using, the new agey phrase is, fake it till you make it.
Yes, I heard this so many times. And it's true. It's
if real. You want to be, if you want to be happy, then every day just say, I am happy. I am happy all day long. I am happy. Why? Because repetition, pattern, makes a program in the subconscious that at some point the subconscious says, okay, I learned it. Just like I learned the alphabet. I learned happy. Why? 95% of the day then, I don't have to think happy thoughts. The subconscious has already got a program to make me happy. I don't even have to think about it. I'm going to be happy. Okay? So repetition, habit, faking it. You're not, you don't feel in love, then pretend you're in love.
Yes.
Love is so wonderful. I say, you don't have it real, but if you repeat it every day and it gets downloaded in the subconscious, then the rest of your life, 95% of the day, that program will be pushing you toward love 95% of the day. So that's why. And then lastly, there's a rapid belief change technologies called energy psychology. And these engage something like super learning. I go, what's super learning? I go, well, you've maybe seen somebody in a bookstore read a book by moving their finger down the page. That's super learning, meaning I could read the page as fast as I just read hundreds of words. I just read hundreds of words as fast as I move my finger, okay? Super learning. If you employ that technique, you can reprogram the mind as fast, within minutes. And there are a whole variety of these on my website. Very simple, brucelipton.com. Under resources, there's a list of 30 or so different, what's called energy psychology, healing, where you can change a belief in 5 or 10 minutes. If you don't do that, belief change takes a while because it's making a habit. It takes days to make a habit. You have to repeat things for days and days and days. And the energy psychology is interesting way of downloading a program like super fast.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we need in today's world, because we have to wake up from the program of limitation, the program of being powerless. We have been programmed to be weak, frail. These are programs that restrict us.
Yeah. And also the program of identity, like people are so identified with their minds, and so they feel the separation, and they're telling themselves the story of separation. And I remember one of the most profound things I heard. I've been following you since like way back, and the biology of belief. You started lecturing on that, and one thing that really blew my mind is because of my near-death experiences, I know for a fact we're gonna move into a unity state consciousness where our identity is shifting. I know this, like I can feel it. This is, and you come in and you say, well, bacteria, they evolve to a certain capacity, and then suddenly they just team up and become something else together. A new identity, and that totally blew my mind. And this is what I'm seeing going on with humanity right now.
I'm glad you're seeing that, because this is a very important point for people to hear.
Yeah,
we are changing our civilization, and we have to change the civilization. It's not a choice. You want to, you don't want to, because our civilization is destroying the ecology of the planet. And we're facing extinction, and human behavior is doing this. So if we want to survive, we have to change culture, because the culture is creating the upheaval and destroying the environment, the way we live. And so I say, well, you can't live in this culture anymore. This is the one that's causing the problem. We have to live to a new culture. So I said, well, how does that happen? It doesn't overnight. One night you go to bed, you wake up as a new culture. It takes time. So let me give an analogy. A caterpillar eats and eats and eats and eats until it gets so big that it puts itself in a shell, a pupa, and in that shell, a butterfly is formed. I say, well, wait, it starts as a caterpillar, it turns into a butterfly, but they have the same cells. So that meant the cells that were organized as a caterpillar have to let go of organization and then start to come together in a new organization. It didn't happen instantly. One comes down, one's coming up. When we look at the world today, and this is the critical part why when you brought it up, it's so important. We're seeing a civilization that is causing extinction coming down. It's failing everywhere, especially where I live. The whole thing, you know, just the politics in the U.S. is showing the thing is blowing up. It's not working. It's destructive. So, and a lot of people are like in fear because they see, oh, everything, you know, the job, the security, the safety, I'm afraid because they see it coming apart. And I go, no, that's the problem. Don't focus on what's coming apart. Something new is coming up.
Yes, exactly. The new earth.
And you're part of this system here. It's the internet system. It's the nervous system that is connecting all the people that thought they were separate into one organism. That's how my one organism called Bruce is not a one organism. There are 50 trillion cells. Every cell is a living entity. A cell is a miniature human. They live in a community. When my government, my brain is working right, my community is healthy and happy. But when my brain sends the wrong information and creates the problems, that's where the disease comes from, okay? And that's where our conscious minds and our subconscious minds are they're interlocked with each other. But the subconscious has nobody in it. It's just a program, record, playback. And so trying to talk to the subconscious like a lot of people do, oh, I want to change my behavior. I'm going to change it. I'm not going to do this. I say, who are you talking to? I'm talking to the subconscious to change the program. I go, there's nobody in there. So you're wasting a lot of time. There's nobody listening, so don't bother.
It's just a mechanism.
There's nobody in there. It's just a mechanism. 100%, Joshua. That is exactly what the story is. And if people get this information, which I'm hoping this is why we're talking about this.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that, am I a robot or am I the controller of a robot? The body is more like a robot. With a brain, that's a controller. But the brain has a program and the brain has a spirit. Which one's running? When it runs from the spirit, we create heaven on earth. When it runs from the program, we create whatever the hell the program said it was. Violence, war, anger, everything. So I say, look at the world. We've been separated for thousands of years as individual people competing with each other. And what do we find out? That behavior is destructive of the planet. It's causing our own extinction. That we have to start recognizing we're all part of one. It's called humanity. Each of us is a cell in the same body. So if we fight each other, that's called in biology autoimmune disease, self-destruction. And that's the biggest issue in health, is because what's going on in the outer world is being reflected in what's going on in the inner world. Most of the sickness we have has nothing to do with the outer world and everything in the way we're sending signals to the 50 trillion citizens whose community and harmony give us our body and our health, but whose disharmony is expressed as illness and disease. And so where did the disease and things come from? Only 1% from genes, 1%. 90+% came from the government, the mind that was sending signals to the cells. Are they healthy signals or scary signals? Whatever you're concentrating on, that's what you're sending. And the signals of health and love create vibrant, vital life. But the signals of fear actually will shut down the system and cause all the disease. And that's why there's so much sickness on this planet, is people are afraid of their future. They don't have trust that they're going to be okay. The war, anger, everything.
They do what the mind does, which is totally worrying about the future or the past and not in the present. But so Mike, when you're describing the mind as the controller,
yes,
and at the same time we began this interview with you being a mental head guy, and 5 minutes after you're in your heart explosion. So yes, where do you see in biology the role of that process of the heart?
Thank you. That is a great question, because I have a wonderful answer.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, and here's how it goes. To give an analogy first, there's a class in school that most people take, algebra. And part of the algebra was you get a big long equation, and the job of the student is to reduce it and make it smaller and smaller. So it takes a lot of steps. So you put the big equation at the top of the paper, and then you do step 1 and it gets a little shorter, and then you do step 2 and it gets a little shorter. And let's say you take 5 or 6 steps, and at the bottom you get the shortest little equation. This is thinking. How do I do the next step? How do I do the next step? Okay? Which is based on our learning. If we learned everything accurately, then when you go from step to step to step, the result at the bottom is going to be accurate. But if you make one small mistake somewhere between the top and the bottom of the page, one small mistake in the middle, the answer at the bottom is wrong. Okay, you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, well, you can solve your problems in life like math. You could say, yes, let's think about how this and this let me think about what happened when I did this and this, and you try to create a conclusion. This is my conclusion. I go, just one error in that thinking means the conclusion isn't right. Now comes the heart. And the heart does a different kind of thinking. It doesn't think like that. The heart measures energy. Why is it relevant? Energy is life. No energy, no life. Extra energy, abundant life. So the heart reads energy. For what reason? Because quantum physics says everything out here is energy. The reality is that this is illusion. We're all energy. I go, why is it relevant? Because the heart can focus on something and read the energy. And basically says, does the result give more energy or does the result take away energy? And the point is simple. If my heart says, oh, I would love that, that means that the heart is determined that the energy from doing something is going to enhance your life. But if your heart has this feeling like, nah, not really, what it's saying is that energy does not necessarily support you. So the point is this: when trying to come to a decision about anything in your life, there's two ways to do it, and I would do both. One, rationally think of, well, what would be the result of doing this? And you think of everything and you say, okay, that makes this decision yes or no. Okay? And then I say, but after you do that thinking part, the final answer, I come from my heart. And I say, how do you feel about this? It's a feeling, not a knowing. How do you feel? Energy is a feeling. How do you feel about this? And your heart's going to give you three answers. Yeah, it feels good. I like it. Nah, I don't really want to do that. And the middle one is, it doesn't make a difference if I do it or not. It's not relevant, okay? So when making decision, as you brought up, the mind and the brain and the heart have a connection. The brain will give you rational thinking answers, which are, if you have all the right understanding, the answer is very valid. But as I said, one wrong answer, one wrong perception, the answer's wrong. So I suggest, always do the rational thinking. But then before making that last moment, before you make that decision, you only have to ask the heart one thing. How do I feel about it? How do you feel? And if the heart knows that it's going to be more energy, more life, the feeling is go toward it. If the feeling says I'm going to lose energy, it says go away from it. And that's your answer. Go to something because it's going to enhance your life. Or if the heart has this, not real interested, stay away from it because it's going to take energy from your life. And we have been programmed not to go by the feelings. That's our education. Our education will think about the answer. Listen to what somebody has to say. And I go, no, the answer is your heart.
Yeah.
Your heart is the reader of energy. Love is full out energy. Fear is no energy. And it reads everything in between. So it's a very good question because it really implies what is my best format, best way of going into the future. I say thinking followed by feeling.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of talk in the spiritual traditions that thinking is way overrated, and also like meditation, be quiet, learn to be still, because I think there's a lot of people out there who understand mentally what you talk about, but they have not really had that experience of actually entering into the heart and feel everything. And so they confuse themselves. Thinking will be overthinking so much, and then some mental intellectual understanding of the heart, but not really connecting. And so they don't really feel. Also, I think because we're afraid of listening to the answers, because the heart will be honest. It's going to tell you if it's good or bad. And the mind will not always accept and embrace the message.
Absolutely. But that's when we have to recognize, is the mind responding to a program, or is the heart running the show? Yeah,
I would say
the heart doesn't have a program to it. All it does is just read energy. Doesn't care about the details. Just wants to know the energy. And that's your quickest and surest way to an answer, is what is the energy.
So basically the whole spiritual journey is about this long. It's from the head to the heart.
That's it. And when you understand both of them together, it's very creative. And there's an organization called Heart Math here in the States, or there in the States. I'm in New Zealand. There in the States, Heart Math. And they are an organization that works about what are the consequences of bringing heart and mind together. Enhances your life. But I can give you a reason why, okay? Energy, in quantum physics, this is the abbreviated answer. In quantum physics, everything is energy. Energy can come together and add up and make more powerful energy, or energy can come together and cancel each other out, so there's no energy at all. So it's called good vibes, bad vibes. There's a scientific term called constructive interference, meaning constructive, two energies interfere and they get more power, constructive interference, or two energies come together and they lose power, destructive interference, but we call them good vibes, bad vibes. Okay. And so these vibes are very critical about the world in which we're in. Okay. And therefore, we have been so programmed to look at the material world that we've disregarded the vibration. And the vibration is first, the material world is second. The vibration is creating this. It's a fact of physics, quantum physics. And you go, quantum physics, it's a weird stuff. All right, first thing I'll tell you is this. Quantum physics is the most valid science on planet Earth. There's no science with more truth than quantum physics. That's number one. Number two, the primary principle of quantum physics is that consciousness is creating the world we're experiencing. That's a fact of physics. Sounds like, oh, new age fairy tale. I go, no, that's the hardcore physics of life. And therefore, the vibration, which is part of our thinking and our intelligence, is the field, not the physical, it's the energy, becomes the most important aspect to understanding and taking power over your life. And since we have been programmed not to listen to our feelings, we have lost the most important factor in making a decision in your life. It's been programmed out of us. Don't go by your feelings. Listen to what the person has to say. And I go, people can tell you anything they want to tell you. The heart is the reader. So your issue about the relevance of the heart, I find it premium, primo, super, special. Heart is what it's all about. Love is the energy that the heart is seeking because it's high energy. Love is high energy. Fear, energy's gone.
Contraction, compression, feeling unnatural, small. Heart is expansion, vastness, openness,
connectivity and activity as well.
So
fear, here's a very important part. Fear causes separation. Why? I'm going to protect myself. I can't protect you. I'm going to take care of myself. And all of a sudden, if everybody's taking care of themselves, there's no community anymore. Okay? So in the U.S., we used to have, when I was a kid, in school, nuclear test, like air raid siren. Okay? And they used to have what I call a bomb shelter under the ground, a place to live in case the bombs come, right? And I go, okay, look at a community that's working in harmony. Everybody's happy. Everybody's working. It's productive. Everything is moving. And then the air raid siren comes. What happens? Everybody stops the job. Everybody goes to the fallout shelter. I say, well, what happens? I say, they're waiting. I say, okay, if it's just a test, 10 minutes later, everybody comes out and they go back to the job. No problem. But what if the air raid sirens go off, but there's no, ending? It's not, it just goes on and on. No one stops. You have to stay in a bomb shelter. I said, well, what did the bomb shelter do? It separated me from everybody else. No community. When everybody went to the bomb shelter, no community. Number two, how long can you stay in the bomb shelter? And the answer is, how much food did you put in there? How much water? Why? There's a point where you're going to run out. And while you're thinking, I'm protecting myself, you're dying because you have no resources anymore. Fear is an intellectual bomb shelter. When I get in fear, I'm going to protect myself, wall myself off. I'm going to keep everybody away. I'm not going to be involved. I'm closed in, like you said. You can't live in fear. You can only die in fear. Why? Nothing's coming in. No energy, So the idea is you die. That is why stress, which is fear, is the because the psychology of stress releases chemicals that shut down the growth to protect us.
Yeah.
And that's why we have to change this programming. So
when you look in a petri dish and you see bacteria who are very primal, and one bacteria wants or cells, or no, let's say bacteria, and one bacteria wants to eat another one, and then this bacteria is having fear and try to run away. And so when you say that you had this 5-minute experience and the biggest change in you were that you didn't have any fear, despite the fact on a biological level, it's a very primordial feeling to have for survival and stuff like that. So how do you explain that just went away?
Why did I get this fear? And the answer was because when we were infants, you have to go back, because before we knew about death, we had no fear. Mm-hmm. What would you fear? The idea of hurting yourself or death did not come into consciousness until you experienced it. Okay? Mm-hmm. Once you started to experience it, you started to recognize by looking, people get older and they get older, and then they reach a very old age and then they die. And the first fear as a child is not your own death. You haven't even owned that yet. Your first fear is your parents dying.
Yeah.
Because without them, where the hell are you?
Yeah.
But there's another year or so, then all of a sudden you start to recognize, wait, I can die. Yeah. And from that moment on, our subconscious, aware of that ultimate fear. That's the ultimate fear you can have. Everything else is whatever it is. Death is the last thing. That's it. So. Yeah. Your subconscious, so focused on fear, will spend how much energy without you even paying attention below the surface watching for your safety. It's just built in. That's because why? Because I have a fear. I'm going to die, and I don't want to die. So I want my brain to keep a guard and let me know, and I use all that energy. Okay, but the moment I stopped and said, I can't die, the holding of fear collapsed. Why? Because it wasn't, I wish I won't die. It was sort of like, I know I can't die. I know I'm not in here. And that's why it crumbled instantly. A devotion may take a long time. You keep saying to yourself, I can't die. Yeah, I can't die. But even while you're saying it, that doesn't. You're talking to who? I say, but repetition and repetition and repetition can get you there. But
I would say also. So these near-death experiences that I had, when the body died and the body was flatlined and nothing going on, there was still someone here, but it wasn't Joshua. It was spirit, or whatever you want to call it.
Exactly.
And so, but as a pure observer and just observing reality, and I remember that consciousness, or me, or whatever, I don't know. The words are misleading. Was looking at the dead body, thinking, "Oh wow, oh he died. Okay, moving on." And I was actually ready to just move on. Non-attachment, no bad anything. It was all beauty and totally peace. But then a lot of other things happened, and long story short, I talked about this in another podcast. But coming back into the body, but I could feel like I came in, took a breath, and then life came back in, and it was very painful to come back. It's more painful to come back than it is to leave. But I could feel after these experiences, like this thing with dying is completely illusion. It's just something we are making up, but we are dropping the body for sure. And I would say the body consciousness, the biological body, the instincts in the body, like I'm not going out playing on the highway and like this, and I eat healthy, take care of myself, but not because it's not that fear as a feeling that stops the whole machinery as you talk about. It's just more like a concern. Like there's a healthy concern of like, okay, let's keep this vehicle going and it's good and take care of it and show some love, compassion, but it's not fear, it's not horror,
No.
terror, but it's just concern, like, oh, maybe I should brush my teeth, you know, or you know, maybe I should, whatever it is that you should do.
Well, absolutely. And the thing is really much more beneficial about it is once you start to recognize that this is an option for a period of time, that you have this, there's a consciousness that says, well, let me take care of it. It's like I take care of my car.
Yeah.
You know, people with pets take better care of their pets than they take care of themselves. And the point is, well, if you're not taking care of yourself, then all the wonderful things that we can create and all the wonderful experiences, you're compromising those. And once you start to realize I can create joy and happiness and everything, then it's also, well, then I want to be able to be healthy enough to enjoy joy and health.
Exactly.
So there's a level of taking care of myself, not for the fear, but for the enjoyment that I'm going to get by being healthy.
Yeah.
It's
so
it's motivation.
It's totally different motivation. It's something completely different driving, because now you're here as an experiencer. And so you're coming in here with passion and excitement. And so you're embracing your five senses and just want the best out of it.
Absolutely. You know, you don't get any credit by not experiencing it. So, you know, you say, well, I 20 years, I didn't feel that. It's like you don't get 20 years extra now. You lost 20 years. Yeah. So the whole idea is this. Don't put off the joy and the pleasure because you don't get it back at the end because you didn't spend it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's here every day. Every day that you're not enjoying and experiencing the love of being alive and having to live on this beautiful planet, which is, you know, you go outside and the trees and the sky and the clouds and the sun and the flowers. It's like, damn, that's really pretty.
Yeah, yeah.
Every day that you go to work and you go 9 to 5, 8 to 5, whatever it is, and you're in the traffic and you're out of the traffic, you're in the office, and then you come home, you miss something. Well, it's okay to work, but if you didn't enjoy the life in the process, you're missing the benefit of why. Yeah. Because as we talked about in the very beginning, a honeymoon is just using that creativity to bring joy and happiness. That you always had the ability to do. And when you fall in love, you have that ability to create that. Well, fall in love with life. Fall in love with the planet. Fall in love out here with just, you know, just the air, the breeze blowing. It's like, oh, yeah, it feels really good, you know? Yeah. And then you start to recognize every day is a gift. Yeah. Every day that you can enjoy your life is a gift. And then when we realize, but the joy or lack of joy isn't the outside, it's the inside. Yes. That's when you have the power to make decisions to say, I don't want that life. I want that life. Yeah. That's when you're the creator. And that's when you're expressing it your way and not through the program. And I would say that with the honeymoon effect, the first time you mentioned this, I was like, oh, but this thing with falling in love with a person and then it's all dandy. What I was thinking is fall in love with the divine, with spirit or whatever it is. Like so it's not an object, but it's the everythingness. And so now your love story really unfolds and you can be in love every day of your life. But they see, when I wrote that, I knew that. But I wanted to write something that the average person has experienced. Yeah. So for the average person, at one time or another in their life, there may have been a week, a month of fabulous experience. But as you said, and it's really important because it wasn't emphasized enough, I don't believe, it doesn't have to be a person. I wrote that in the book. It doesn't have to be in love with people. You could be a gardener. You could go outside and plant things and give you all the joy in the world to watch things grow and to eat the food and enjoy it. You can be an artist. You can go paint and do that kind of stuff. You can do a job that just gives you satisfaction. And that's what it's about. So the whole idea is what? Being happy where you are. Yeah. That was a choice. And that's why when I brought up the honeymoon is because so many people have experienced without knowing what they actually did. That wasn't an accident that honeymoon happened. It was you stopped playing the program. And if people people can recognize that, then it's like, well, but I can stop playing the program anytime. I go, yeah. But that's harder to sell than the first story is, hey, did you ever experience that? And they go, yeah, I experienced that. I go, not an accident. Not an accident. It was a creation. Own it. Because if you own it, you can do it again. And you can do it for as long as you want. So it doesn't have to be honeymoon period. It can be a whole life.
So the whole life becomes a honeymoon. When you have your breakfast is your honeymoon. When you walk your dog is your honeymoon. When you talk with your friends, it's your honeymoon. With everything is your honeymoon. Like go out and look at the night sky is your honeymoon. Everything.
I know that. That's why I wake up every day in this current version of my life. I'm in heaven.
Yeah, you're having a honeymoon all the time, 24/7.
That is the truth, and that was not my life, and it didn't happen by accident, and it did it through an awareness and a consciousness and an effort. It wasn't like, oh, let me wake up tomorrow and be in heaven. It's like, nah. No, you have to do something. And that's where we are creating, and then we have to understand why the creation went off the track. And then we can bring it back. And that once we can bring it back, then it's not a random event. It's a manifestation of it every day. I have the pleasure of talking with you and around halfway around the world over there from where I am in New Zealand. Well, it's actually not that far, but you know, and it's like, this is a miracle of life.
It is totally. So my trillions of cells are resonating with your trillions of cells in two different continents. There's magic everywhere. Okay, Bruce, thank you so much for your time. It's been very, very inspirational, and I'm so much looking forward to sending this out to everybody.
I thank you so much. I thank you for the opportunity to talk to your community, because we spread the word. It's only a thought that has to change, and then the rest of it is empowerment. So thank you for giving me that opportunity, and I want to thank the audience, because those that see it can one day just say, wait a minute,